Hi kids, I'm teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I see a dog. Again. I see a dog. Now you read. Good job. I see a cat. Again. I see a cat. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a pig. Again. I see a pig. Now you read. Very good. I see a fox. Again. I see a fox. Now you read. Awesome job. I see a bat. Again. I see a bat. Now you read. You did it. I see a hen. Again. I see a hen. Now you read. Good job. I see a duck. Again. I see a duck. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a frog. Again. I see a frog. Now you read. Very good. I see a bug. Again. I see a bug. Now you read. Awesome job. I see a bear. Again. I see a bear. Now you read. You did it. Great job, kids. Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids. I'm teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I see the sun. Again. I see the sun. Now you read. Good job. I see the moon. Again, I see the moon. Now you read. Nice reading. I see the sky. Again, I see the sky. Now you read. Very good. I see the rain. Again, I see the rain. Now you read. Awesome job. I see the wind. Again, I see the wind. Now you read. You did it. I see a hill. Again, I see a hill. Now you read. Good job. I see a tree. Again, I see a tree. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a rock. Again, I see a rock. Now you read. Very good. I see the stars. Again, I see the stars. Now you read. Awesome job. I see the grass. Again, I see the grass. Now you read. You did it. Great job, kids. Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids. I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I see my mom. Again, I see my mom. Now you read. Good job. I see my dad. Again, I see my dad. Now you read. Nice reading. I see my friend. Again, I see my friend. Now you read. Very good. I see a girl. Again, I see a girl. Now you read. Awesome job! I see a boy. Again, I see a boy. Now you read. You did it! I see my teacher. Again, I see my teacher. Now you read. Good job! I see a baby. Again, I see a baby. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a man. Again, I see a man. Now you read. Very good. I see my cousin. Again, I see my cousin. Now you read. Awesome job! I see the doctor. Again, I see the doctor. Now you read. You did it! Great job, kids! Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids! I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I see a ball. Again, I see a ball. Now you read. Good job! I see a doll. Again, I see a doll. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a bed. Again, I see a bed. Now you read. Very good. I see a cup. Again, I see a cup. Now you read. Awesome job! I see a book. Again, I see a book. Now you read. You did it! I see a box. Again, I see a box. Now you read. Good job. I see a bell. Again, I see a bell. Now you read. Nice reading. I see a kite. Again, I see a kite. Now you read. Very good. I see a drum. Again, I see a drum. Now you read. Awesome job. I see a truck. Again, I see a truck. Now you read. You did it. Great job, kids. Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids. I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I have a ball. Again, I have a ball. Now you read. Good job. I have a doll. Again, I have a doll. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a kite. Again, I have a kite. Now you read. Very good. I have a truck. Again, I have a truck. Now you read. Awesome job. I have a bike. Again, I have a bike. Now you read. You did it. I have a drum. Again, I have a drum. Now you read. Good job. I have a bear. Again, I have a bear. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a game. Again, I have a game. Now you read. Very good. I have a robot. Again, I have a robot. Now you read. Awesome job! I have a bell. Again, I have a bell. Now you read. Great job, kids! Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids. I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I have a dog. Again, I have a dog. Now you read. Good job. I have a cat. Again, I have a cat. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a fish. Again, I have a fish. Now you read. Very good. I have a bird. Again, I have a bird. Now you read. Awesome job! I have a mouse. Again, I have a mouse. Now you read. You did it! I have a frog. Again, I have a frog. Now you read. Good job! I have a bunny. Again, I have a bunny. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a duck. Again, I have a duck. Now you read. Very good. I have a pig. Again, I have a pig. Now you read. Awesome job! I have a turtle. Again. I have a turtle. Now you read. Great job, kids! Thank you for reading with me. Hi, kids. I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I have a hat. Again. I have a hat. Now you read. Good job. I have a shirt. Again. I have a shirt. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a sock. Again. I have a sock. Now you read. Very good. I have a sweater. Again. I have a sweater. Now you read. Awesome job! I have a shoe. Again. I have a shoe. Now you read. You did it! I have a coat. Again. I have a coat. Now you read. Good job! I have a scarf. Again. I have a scarf. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a skirt. Again. I have a skirt. Now you read. Very good. I have a jacket. Again. I have a jacket. Now you read. Awesome job! I have a glove. Again. I have a glove. Now you read. Great job, kids! Thank you for reading with me. Hi kids, I'm Teacher Stephie, your online reading teacher. Are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's begin. I have a snack. Again, I have a snack. Now you read. Good job. I have a grape. Again, I have a grape. Now you read. Nice reading. I have a peach. Again, I have a peach. Now you read. Very good. I have a chip. Again, I have a chip. Now you read. Awesome job. I have a pear. Again, I have a pear. Now you read. You did it. I have a cake. Again, I have a cake. Now you read. Good job. I have a berry. Again, I have a berry. Now you read. Nice reading. I have an apple. Again, I have an apple. Now you read. Very good. I have a hot dog. Again, I have a hot dog. Now you read. Awesome job. I have a fry. Again, I have a fry. Now you read. Great job, kids! Thank you for reading with me.